Welcome back to Motkamel Financial Track. In today's lecture, we're going to show you how to create several privileges for a group of users, and we will also see how we can get that done for a single user or a bunch of users together in a group if the nature of their work is quite similar or at least close. You can also grant these privileges at the job level for employees with certain tasks. And when you assign these privileges, the users will be able to add, edit, or even delete transactions according, of course, to the level of privileges that you have assigned for these users on certain screens or systems. As we can see, the screens used to set that up are 5: user info, group privilege, user maintenance, user in system, and user authorization and branches. We'll start off with the screen group privilege, and the data that we're adding in this screen will be used later on in the screen user info. So group privilege is a screen used to create a group of privileges that can be granted to a group of users or employees, and this makes it easier for the admin or the person in charge of organizing access levels. For example, you can give the accounting managers the same privileges without having to repeat the same steps for each user separately. This screen contains 9 different tabs. First, we need to code a new group, or if we want to edit an existing one, like existing group information, that will be by clicking on modify. You can also undo something that you or an action that you've taken, because we have an undo option here. And in case the user wants to delete a group of privileges, you can click on delete. Any privileges can be deleted except for the admin privileges, because of course that is set up by default in the database and is assigned to the admin or the employee who's in charge of managing the system and the privileges given to the rest of the employees. In case you're adding a new group, first you select the branch in branch name, click on add, and the group number will be added automatically. The name of the group will be added in group privileges. Now, the second thing we want to do is to select the privileges that we want to assign to this group. So to go about this, first we need to go to the tab User Maintenance 1, and using this tab we can select the system that we're creating privileges for, and we can also restrict the users from accessing certain systems, and that will be by activating the variable deny. The second tab we have is User Maintenance 2, and here we can set up the access to use certain screens in some systems. The type of privileges we have is going to be add, delete, modify, or view. And you can select the privilege by clicking on these squares next to the screen name. And you can select a column of privileges like view for all screens. And you can also cancel a column of privileges for all screens. We can also activate all privileges, which are viewing, modifying, deleting, and adding for a single screen. And we can also cancel all these privileges for a screen. We have several options to use to activate all the privileges for all of the screens, or cancel them for all of the screens as well. And these options are deal with one cell, select row, select column, select all, and also cancel select column and cancel select all. But before you select the privilege, viewing, modifying, deleting, or adding, first you need to select the system that you're creating this privilege for. In main menu, you will see the systems or the different kinds of administrations in the system. For example, let's go for general ledger. Then we will select the exact section from submenu, so it's either setup, main inputs, operating, posting, or reports. We will go with operating. The screens in that submenu will come up under screen name. Then we can select the privileges like we just showed you. And the next step that we have is going to be accounts, maintenance, and documents. And using this tab, we can add privileges to certain accounts and certain documents. And giving these privileges is going to be the same way as the previous tab. Whether we're going to give a privilege or several privileges to a certain account or several accounts. And the privileges we can add here are local view, view, and inputs. Local view allows the user to view the account or the balances of the accounts only in the local currency. View allows the users to view the balances for all of the transactions added on the accounts that we activated this privilege for, of course. As for inputs, this one allows the users who have this privilege to add transactions on the accounts that we select. We can use the accounts that we have here as well as we can select specific accounts to give privileges on, and that is by entering the account number in search for accounts. In from account to account, we can enter basically the group of accounts that we want to assign privileges for. Then we hit F9 to select these specific accounts. Click on this icon to bring up these accounts so we can start creating the privileges. We can also add privileges for a different kind of document, like journal voucher, for example, and that will be by selecting document privilege, which will bring up the different types of documents added in the system in all of the languages. There are also two variables that we can activate as general privileges that work with many accounts. Modify document date for starters, and this one allows the users that we select, of course, to edit the document date. And also the variable continue operation suspended account, and this one allows the user to select or add transactions on suspended account. Next, we have the tab Sales Maintenance, and we use this one to grant privileges in the sales system, like allowing a user to create cash sales invoices by activating this variable, or to create check sales invoices by also activating the corresponding variable. These privileges are either assigned separately by selecting dealing with one cell, then we activate each privilege one at a time, or we can activate the whole column. You can just click on select column, and if you want to cancel all of those privileges, click on cancel select column. We'll move on to the tab group maintenance, and here we can see the stock groups, if any, has been added in the screen main group details in the inventory system. And you can grant the privileges the same way that we've established together in the previous tabs. The same goes for the tab inventories maintenance, and this one is related to given privileges for the inventory system. Cost center maintenance and currency details are pretty much the same. You're gonna assign privileges the same way for different systems or screens, obvious of course from the tab's title. The last tab that we have here is Other, and this contains a few privileges that, if activated, will apply different privileges for the users that we select. The first variable that we have is supply items at zero cost, and this one accepts an incoming without any cost. The variable supply of items with an expiry date less than the invoice date accepts incoming for items that have expired, and it allows the users to enter expiry dates before the date of the invoice. The variable stock exchange at selling price allows the user to dispatch items from the inventory at the selling price, not the cost. Then we have the variable inventory transfer at sale price, and this one allows transfers between the company's warehouses to be calculated at the selling price. We also have a bunch of other variables like approval of purchase order in purchase, adoption of quotation in sales, approving customer request in sales, approving the perform invoice in sales. Activating these variables will add different kinds of privileges, like approving sales orders and requests in the purchases system, or approving discounts and discount requests in the sales system. So everything we just went through is basically the given privileges throughout the system, either by selecting it or by activating specific variables, and that is all part of the group of privileges that could be given to a user or a group of users, and that is what we will explain in the upcoming lecture. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and we will see you again soon.